So it got us asking the big question, is it real? Does bisexuality actually exist? And we had to turn to the expert, an expert 60 years old, and a reinterpretation of the most groundbreaking sexuality study ever done in history. Ever heard of it? Kinsey. So let us show you this.
Hello, I'm Dr. Alfred Kinsey from Indiana University, and I'm making a study of sex behavior. I've learned that the gap between what we assume people do sexually and what they actually do is enormous. That's why a study of this kind is so important. What you tell us will provide an immense contribution to knowledge and science. So, if you're sitting comfortably there, let's begin.
I invented it, son.
Tell me more.
A man named Dr. Alfred Kinsey did one of the largest studies of human sexual behavior in the 1940s. The findings of his study, published in these 2 volumes, gave the world a much deeper understanding of sexuality, including a new way to talk about sexual orientation. As Dr. Alfred Kinsey puts it, there are not 2 discrete populations, heterosexual and homosexual. The world is not to be divided into sheep and goats. This is true of sexual orientation, how we're oriented with others sexually, if at all. Kinsey created a 7-point Likert scale to show how we describe sexual orientation, like this one here. All right, so 7 points, 0 through 6. A Kinsey 0 is someone who is exclusively heterosexual. A Kinsey 6, someone who is exclusively homosexual. The way that I remember this is when one of my classmates, very homosexual, raised his hand and said, "I'm a Kinsey 10." And so, to me, 6 reminds me top of the numbers, higher numbers, more homosexual in behaviors. And the lower numbers indicate more heterosexual or interest in opposite sex partners. Kinsey 1 is predominantly heterosexual with an incident of homosexuality, and a Kinsey 5 is predominantly homosexual with an incident of heterosexuality. 2 and 4 are more than incidences, so heterosexual with more than an incidence of homosexuality, and homosexual with more than an incident of heterosexuality. And a Kinsey 3 is equal parts heterosexual and homosexual in either psychological reactions and or sexual behavior. Aces, I didn't forget you, and Kinsey didn't either. If a person identifies as asexual, sexual orientation is denoted by an X. Kinsey describes them as no sociosexual contexts or reactions. You might be asking yourself, well, what am I? This is an effort at depicting orientation. It doesn't mean it's a done deal. I mean, Kinsey Scale doesn't even account for non-binary genders or pansexuality. Pansexuality? Attraction regardless of gender. All the genders. Other models do account for all these variables like gender, fantasies, and time. Fritz Klein even came up with a method that brings in emotional and social preferences, and lifestyle, and how you would identify regardless of the algorithm. There are hundreds of different ways to describe sexual orientation. Yours might be the next leader in how we classify each other. That's if we need to be classified at all.
Okay, well, I thought that was an outstanding summary of Kinsey and the opening of Kinsey of the movie. Now we have a plethora of slides here that we're going to help in definitions. To be honest with you, this has been an interesting week for me because I've gone back to Sexuality Study 101 because it's a commitment to learn more about where we are. I think what is so interesting about Kinsey in the 1950s, the movie, which is 15 years old now, and today, is we have learned so much more. Her end conclusion is there are hundreds of definitions that may apply here, and why do we even need to categorize them, I think is interesting. But let us help you categorize them. First, bisexual. A person who is sexually attracted not exclusively to people of one particular gender, attracted to both men and women. We're applying definitions here. Pansexual. A person who is not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity. Asexual, a person who is without sexual feelings or associations. They may still experience attraction, but this attraction doesn't need to be realized in any sexual manner. Now, in each of those 3 slides, we give you the Kinsey Scale definition, 3, 4, X. But that study was over 40 years ago, and now the spectrum has grown off the original spectrum, showing us that human sexuality is always evolving. And we give additional definitions. Polysexual, a person with attraction to more than one gender, with no limit on the gender spectrum. Contrary to popular belief, this has nothing to do with somebody else.
Polygamy.
Polyamory. Thank you.
Polygamy.
Omnisexuality.
More than one lover.
Right. A person who is attracted to all genders, but not regardless of gender. Gender can still be a factor in their attraction, unlike true pansexuals who do not care about the gender. Have you heard about sapiosexual? A person who finds people, regardless of gender spectrum, equally attractive or arousing because of their personality and intelligence, not defined by Kinsey. And scoliosexuality, a person who is primarily sexual, romantically and or aesthetically attracted to genderqueer, transgender, or non-binary people.
Call me.
Right? Exactly. All right. So, the broad question, starting with bisexuality, the LGBTQ. We focus on the biggest one, the B, but we're focusing on all kinds of definitions. What do y'all think?
Well, the question really is, what do you think? Because you are the one that said that you don't believe in bisexuality.
Mr. Gay Guru.
Where are you now?
And I agree with Al.
I am willing to admit that potentially I'm a mouth-breathing moron.
Well,
Potentially
and
the crowd goes wild.
I don't toss Al a cookie very often, okay? But I mean, there's telling a joke, and then there's actually believing the shit that you say.
Absolutely true. Right?
So there's.
Do you believe me?
Well,
you? Yeah. I believe that you were joking. This one, on the other hand, I'm really curious.
I said no word yet.
Right. No words. Here's the broad issue. If we are going to live, one of the things that the sex expert redefining Kinsey does, which I want y'all to comment on, that I think is so brilliant. She basically says, don't focus on choice. Focus on attraction.
Mm-hmm.
If you focus on attraction, it's what do you innately identify in your attraction.
Yes.
And if that is your attraction, that is what you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you allow people to commandeer this conversation based on choice, then all bets are off, and we can't come to any scientific
I mean, anybody can choose
conclusion.
to be in the closet forever, but that's no way to live either.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Boring.
Again, I agree with you.
Saying,
I think it's 3 times tonight. I agreed with you, Aaron.
saying that
But
you
I
don't,
think.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Here, hold on.
It's gonna mess up my lips.
That's not happening. No. All right. Where were we?
Wait,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you're either gay or you're straight, and I think most gay Americans are tired with the full alphabet coming across. It's like you're pregnant or you're not pregnant. You're gay or you're straight. You're bisexual because you don't have the balls to come out and say, I'm gay. End of story.
Is there
Wait. Hold on. Let me pursue that. So your position personally is that bisexuality doesn't exist.
It's a farce, and it's a masquerade because they don't have the balls or the boobs to pick gay or straight.
All right, we hear you.
Well, I have
All
neither balls nor boobs, okay? And how are you going to look at me? I am both genders in one person, and you going to tell me that bisexuality doesn't exist?
It does not.
Okay. All right.
You think pick a sex. Sure. Pick a gender. You're gay or you're straight.
Here's an answer for you.
different.
No.
The thing
is, that's why.
Wait.
When
Hold
you
on.
can't answer a question, you come after and you lose
Please,
slurs. And
y'all
I'm offended by
help
that,
me.
And don't say fuck you.
I meant it to be offensive.
Y'all help me because I want to come back to your point.
I haven't.
But I know I want to come back to your observation you're going to make. My question to you specifically is, if Aaron makes the decision of the observation that he just made, why do you or I need to put him in a box that it's one or the other? That's the real question.
Because the gay community is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and the 26 letters. We're gay or we're straight. End of story.
Wait. That doesn't. it doesn't answer my
It
question,
answers
and I
your
want to
question.
come back to it again.
We're gay or straight. End of
Andrew,
story.
I understand. I understand the words that you're saying. I'm trying to get illumination. I'm trying to light a room. Why do you or me or anyone else need the definition that it's this or that? The question is
Because
why?
the liberals and the gay community have added A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, 20
Oh my God.
letters.
Okay, I'm so done with this conversation,
Okay.
and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, because life isn't black or white. Okay, and neither are human beings. Okay, when you get connected to what's really driving you, you might find out and learn a little bit about yourself. All right, and I love you, Andrew, but I'm gonna just tell you, life is not black or white, and neither are human beings.
Okay.
Listen, I sucked dick and ate pussy last weekend, so tell me that I'm not bisexual, okay?
Hey!
That's all I'm saying about
Well,
that.
it's not about the actions, but if you like it.
All right.
How dare anybody in the gay community say that bisexuality or pansexuality or anything else does not exist, because that is the exact same thing that ignoramus that we just saw it basically is saying. While you sit there and say that we're either gay or straight, somebody else is saying everybody is straight and everything else is just a choice. We find that ignorant, but then we'll turn around and display the same ignorance and say the same thing. And Andrew is not the only one. There's a lot of people that doubt that bisexuality exists. They think, oh, you just can't, you're on the fence. You can't make up your mind.
Bless your heart.
Listen, if we can be gay and we're out here shouting and saying that homosexuality is a thing, it's not a choice, it actually is a thing, then why is it that we cannot then open our minds to believe that bisexuality is also not a choice? It is actually the same thing.
Okay.
Power, I hear your point, but didn't some people up here just a couple of weeks ago turn to Andrew and say, hey, I don't believe gay Republicans exist?
No, I don't.
I mean,
think
I believe
anybody said
that was one of our conversations, and it was definitely said up here. I don't think that you can be Republican and gay, and I know that was an extreme view, and that we argued it back and forth.
That was the topic, but I don't.
Yeah, it was the topic.
Yeah, it was a topic, right? But I don't know if anybody here
even if
said
that's
that.
true, let's grant that that's true for a moment. What's your point
That
on
we're saying,
making that
I mean, he identifies as gay and Republican. We're saying that doesn't exist versus if bisexuality exists.
Nobody here said that. Nobody here said that you can't be gay. and
Jared,
Republican.
play it back. Just kidding.
That was the topic that we raised, but nobody here actually.
Broadly.
I think Chris Risk brought that up on Miami Gay List.
Well, you know what's funny? Because here you sit, right? A gay Republican, okay, in all your glory. You get to sit there and be who you are and be what you are, and we all just have to accept that that's what you are. But yet, here I sit, okay? Here I motherfucking sit. Both genders in one person, bisexual as fuck, but we can't just have that be okay. We can't just accept that. No, you've got to put it in a box. You've got to redirect. You've got to redefine for me who the fuck I am and what
most
the
in the
fuck
gay
I'm gonna
community
do.
want that in the box.
I don't give a fuck what the gay community
most
wants.
in the gay community do not want.
5 people here
Please
don't.
allow me to help.
Saying that bisexuality doesn't exist or that there's only gay
I'm
and
not
straight.
saying it doesn't
Wait.
exist.
Okay,
Please.
saying that
You did
there's
say
only
that.
gay and straight, to me, is as, and with all due respect to those that believe this, is as ridiculous as saying the earth is flat. I mean, who still thinks that? We have come to an age of intelligence and learning and learned that we know now that it's not just black or white.
I'm trying
it's not
to
just gay or straight.
illuminate a dark room. Let me try one more time, Andrew, and I'm giving you another opportunity to illuminate a dark room. I hear you. I hear you. The question here is, Aaron is saying, I don't need anyone else's approval for me to believe this is what I am.
No.
And the question then becomes, why does someone else have the right or the need to define them? That's what I'm very specifically asking you. Because it's popular in the gay community doesn't make it right. Why do they need to do that?
The whole trans community is waiting on that answer too.
And that's the question. Why do you representing a point of view, which frequently has been my point of view, frankly, why do you or we or others need that? Why do we have to do that?
I think it's the BLGBTQ who want it, not the G and L.
I'm talking about you specifically. Wait, allow me. I'm trying to illuminate a room. Why do you need... All right, I hear you and all of the other letters in the community. But you specifically, or who you represent...
I represent me. I don't represent...
Why?
Please.
Why do we... Okay, I hear you. But why do we have the need to identify Aaron in the box that we want to identify them in?
I didn't identify Aaron in the box.
Listen, talk to me, my friend. Talk to me.
I did not.
Why?
Put you
What
in
does
the
it
box.
matter? What does it matter to you? Okay, you and I. Listen. You and I, human to human, right? Man to man. Okay. All right. You hear me? Why does it get into your psyche so much that you have to recategorize it? You have to explain it. You have to be right. What is it about just why can't I just show up in all of my glory, okay? Why can't I just show up and be what and who I am, and you just be either okay with that or just unfucking bothered and move along? Why does it matter to you so much?
It doesn't bother me, and I'm not transphobic as many people think that I am.
Nobody said that.
But he
Yes, they
asked
have.
a question, why? All right, you're not transphobic.
You feel the need to insist that bisexuality doesn't exist. Why?
You know, going back to the history of the gay community, we were the gay lesbian community under the umbrella. And we've gone from A, B, C, D, and Q. It's the gay community and not the bisexual
So a lot of
community.
here's the thing about the ABCDQ. The ABCDQ are also otherwise known as people, human beings, okay? And we've been left behind, left in the dirt, and
some of those
dismissed.
people are really not gay.
Ever since back
It
when
should
it
not
was
be
the
under the gay
and lesbian.
umbrella.
Well, but clearly...
But who
Aaron
the
is
fuck are
not
you to
that.
say? Who the fuck are
It's
you
my
to
opinion. I can say it, and a lot of people agree with me.
Well,
okay.
that's your freedom, and
All right.
that's your
Exactly.
right. And
It's
I
your
have the
freedom
right
too.
to tell you you're
Exactly,
fucking
and we
wrong.
respect each other for that.
I think I can answer something for you as to why you're uncomfortable with it, and I think
I'm
it's
not
because
uncomfortable with
I
it.
think well, even if you are, there might be other people that are or not. I think that it makes you question yourself, or other people question themselves as to what their sexuality, what their
Oh, honey, I have
into
no
really
question
is.
about my sexuality.
And a lot of gay people, I mean,
100% homo.
again, going back to the kink thing, a lot of people put that as a separate category because, I've come to terms with my sexuality. I don't have to deal with what actually turns me on. But it's something we have to constantly question.
Here's
It's like
the thing
tastes.
that's super valuable to me in this conversation. I have inappropriately, this has probably been one of the most talked about conversations in the production office that we have had.
All of our
And-
production are all bisexuals, by
Yes.
the way.
and I'm Kinsey 4, right?
I'm a 10.
Okay. And the value of this conversation really is washing all over me, because I keep thinking all the things through the years that I have said that might be totally inappropriate in terms of your observation and totally supportive of your observation. And I'm hearing this because I'm re-asking a new educated question,
Well, and that's
which
important.
is
And
why
we're raised
do I
in
need
this
that?
culture, right? So even myself, as a non-binary, gendered or whatever, genderqueer, pansexual, whatever, queer person, I myself find myself having to call out my own bullshit. I was recently reading an article about gay wrestlers, right? Like WWE kind of wrestlers. And this woman was she said, I'm bisexual and I have slept with women. And my immediate knee-jerk reaction was to go, that ain't no bisexual. You're just a straight girl looking for attention. Even myself, even somebody who has had that same bullshit said to me personally, I still found myself, that knee-jerk reaction was to say what everybody, quote unquote, everybody else in the mainstream ideology says, which is that you're not real.
You know, I'm...
Can I just say something?
Sure.
Truth be told, I'm just going to be real about this. Personally, I think the gays that believe that bisexuality doesn't exist, I personally think that they are offended by bisexuals because they kind of feel like bisexuals are somehow betraying the gay community by liking pussy. Girl, look, get over it. Some people like dick, some people like pussy, some people like both. That's just the way it motherfucking is.
And there's bisexual
Sometimes
cheating
I
on
want
their
Italian,
women.
sometimes
Y'all-
I want Mexican.
Y'all offended
All right.
me.
Would you relate that to passing?
Y'all a plug.
Well,
Would you relate that power to like passing in terms of other communities?
let's close the
child.
conversation here on
I need some air.
sexuality by saying there is a lot to be discussed.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we find in the gay community in various different ways is it's an example. Our conversation about all of these different representations in our community is probably representation of some self-hate that we do on ourselves. And as a result, that's something that we need to explore.
Self-hate.
And if that is true, and I think it might be true, I think it might be true for me, to be honest with you, that is a value it's happening out that we continue to explore it. This is our first opportunity of doing this. It seems to me we have many, many more opportunities to do.